Hey guys, welcome back to the Witchy Woman podcast. It's Kylie and Zori here today.
Hello, I'm back.
I'm back. We're gonna do like a catch up at first, and then we're gonna dive into some really good topics that we have written down.
Yeah, we have a couple planned out now, but I do want to catch up because we haven't yet.
I know. Okay, so go ahead.
So I made my vision board for the year, but the last time we spoke, I was like, I don't know what I'm gonna do. I don't know. I made my vision board, and I always do, like, a word of the year. My friend got me started on that. She always does a word, and I feel like it's always, like, so great to carry that word with you throughout the year. So last year, my word was consistency, and I felt like I did really well with that, but then I was, like, I felt like I did okay with that.
Yeah, because
I felt like I did...
Consistency's a hard one to do.
Hard.
Because
it's hard, but that's why it was my word, because I was like, I just need to do more... Or do less more often. That is the thing. Because I'm so one of those people that's like, I'm going to do a fuck ton, like, for this week.
Yeah.
Like, I haven't been in the gym in so long. I'm going to the gym. I'm hitting every fucking machine.
Yeah.
And then I don't do anything again for, like, 6 months.
Oh,
so I was like, what I need to do is do, like, a 10-minute workout, like, a couple times a week. Mm-hmm. Instead of being like, you know, I'm not doing anything. So I did a lot better with that. In the sense that, like, mentally, I was like, you know what, if I can do it today, we'll just get it done today. If I can't do it for another 4 days, it's fine. But we're just going to do it as frequently. If I can, I'll try.
Yes.
And I feel like I did well with that, but I still wasn't as consistent as I wanted to be. And then I was like, okay, what's missing? And I put my vision board together, and I kept, like, some of the pictures from last year, which was kind of fun because I was like, okay, this is something I still want. It's something I'm still working on. And then I added new ones, and then it all kind of came together that the word of the year, mine is discipline.
Okay.
So
that was a good one, yeah.
Because I was like, what's missing is the discipline from the consistency.
So the consistency.
Like, I kind of got in the practice of being more consistent, but what's missing is, like, doing it even when it's hard as fuck to do it.
Yeah.
Like, so that's been my thing this year, and it's been working really well. Mm-hmm. I'm tired as fuck. Yeah. But it's like, I'm not stressed.
Yeah.
I'm just, like, tired. Like, I go to the gym twice a week. Every week I do yoga. And at least, like, shoot for the moon, land amongst the stars. I'm never, like, punishing myself for not doing stuff. But I have that word discipline in my head. So when I'm like, oh, I just go to bed. Like, you know, I did a bunch of schoolwork today. Like, I could just go to bed. I don't need to do, like, a yoga or anything. I'm like, 10 minutes. Yeah. Discipline. Like, do it. You have to do it even when you're not motivated. And that is the hardest part. Yeah. But once you get into that practice, it's so easy because now it's like, I really look forward, especially because I'm so busy this semester with, like, school. I look forward to, like, going to the gym because it's just not school. Mm-hmm. So I'm like, anything to get away from it. I'm like, yeah, I'll do lunges. And with that, I've been doing the same workout every week, which is something I never used to do. So that was really awesome.
Yeah, I feel like discipline and consistency go hand in hand really well together.
Yes, absolutely. That's why I was like, what was missing from me? I was like, why was the consistency not... Like, I was like, I definitely did better, and I'm proud of myself for that, but I was like, why was it not where I wanted to be? And the difference was 100% discipline.
Yeah,
like,
and
100%.
Discipline and consistency... I've actually been trying really hard with that, too. Mm-hmm. Because it's also, I feel like I struggle with, I guess, laziness. Yeah. And, like, the phone issue. Yeah. Of just, like, not getting something done. Yeah. Because I'd rather just sit there and reward myself on my phone.
Yeah.
So
no,
I
it's
feel
hard.
like...
It's hard as fuck. Like, the thing is, when you have the word in the back of your head, though, that's why I like picking a word of the year. Yeah. Because when you have the word in the back of your head, it's like, it is there. It's hovering. Yeah. Like, anytime, and it happens with schoolwork, too, where I'm like... Okay, I've done enough for the day. I can move the rest of my to-do list to tomorrow, which I still do sometimes, but
the to-do list.
I have the to-do list, and then instead of, like, sometimes I still move it. Mm-hmm. Like, sometimes I have done enough, because you have to, like, figure out, like, what can be done tomorrow. Yeah. What can be, but instead of just moving it, because I want to, I'll be like, can you do one more thing? Yeah. Can you just at least start this one more thing? And it has made my life so much easier, school-wise, workout-wise. It's made it easier, but I am more tired, which is like, I am more tired, but it's, like, so worth it because I'm getting everything done and I'm not stressed about it. Like, I'm not procrastinating. Like, I'm not.
Procrastination.
It's so much better. I mean, I still procrastinate, so but not, like, as bad. Yeah, like, everybody procrastinates. But, yeah. So then there's that. But the real interesting thing that I wanted to bring up to you, because I figured this would be a great podcast to bring it up on, is ketamine. Mm-hmm. so I'm currently in, like, a research class, and it's a health research and analysis. This class, I fucking hate it. I hate it so much. The teacher's awful. But anyway, we had to pick, essentially we have to, the big thing of the class is we have to propose an idea for research. So I'm like, okay, what, like, would I be interested in? Of course, like, weed and shrooms comes to mind. Like, and their application in the health field. Because I'm like, there's a thing with that. Like, how does that work? But I couldn't find good articles, like, because it's fucking illegal. So it's hard for anybody to do any research on these psychedelics or even psychoactive, like, drugs like this because of them being, like, illegal. So, so I went to the librarian and I was like, help me. And I was like scared, but Ithaca's so liberal, like, so liberal, but I was still kind of scared. I was like, I'm gonna tell this lady, like, I want to do my project on shrooms. So I told her, and she was like, okay, we found shrooms, we found weed. There was a lot of testing on rats, not humans, which isn't helpful. I was like, I need other stuff. So she was like, okay, I get the idea you're going for. And I was like, okay. And she was like, I told her, I was like, I'm not married to anything. I'm just trying to find something I'm interested in, because if I'm not interested in it, I can't do it. I can't do this project if I don't care about the research or, like, whatever. So she's like, okay, well, I have a friend who has an eating disorder and, like, started getting ketamine psychotherapy, like, ketamine-assisted psychotherapy as treatment for her eating disorder. And it worked really well for her. And I was like, that is so fucking interesting. Because I always thought of ketamine as, like, a club drug. I'm like, we need to, like, not be doing that.
It's a horse tranquilizer. Like.
Yes. And I was like, actually, this is more interesting because I've seen so many documentaries and read up so much on, like, weed and shrooms that it's like, I've seen it before. So I'm like, this is something that, like, I actively was like, I want to stay away from. So I'm like, this is actually really interesting research. So it's hilarious because, I mean, tell me the stars aren't aligned, because the first time I got into, like, we found a lot of research articles on it. So I found an article, and then there was an assignment where I had to read it and kind of, like, outline what they did in the experiment. And so I was reading it, and then I took a break, and it was really interesting, but I took a break from reading it, start to make dinner, and put on a podcast while I was making dinner. And it was this podcast that had been out for a while that kept coming up on my recommended, and I wanted to watch, but I just, like, hadn't had the time. So I finally was like, okay, I'll listen to it. So I put on, it's like how psychedelics saved my life. So I was thinking this girl's going to talk about, like, shrooms or ayahuasca, which she did. She didn't talk about shrooms, but she talked about ayahuasca. And she was like, yeah, it didn't really do it for me. And I was like, that's the first time I've literally ever heard somebody be like, yeah, I didn't really fuck with ayahuasca that hard. Like, I was like, that's so interesting. She was like, yeah, I definitely, like, got it, but she was like, I didn't get
DMT.
She was like, I didn't get the breakthrough that I wanted. Like, I felt, and so I was like, okay. I was like, sure.
Keep digging.
So I was like, what? And then it's so funny because I did not expect this, but she ends up talking about, like, ketamine. And how she got ketamine-assisted, like, word for word, ketamine-assisted psychotherapy. And I was like, it's so funny that I took a break from this project. And I'm now hearing somebody's, like, firsthand account on, like, how ketamine helped them. And she talked about her experiences with it, and it was so fucking interesting. Like, she talked about, like, one of the experiences, because you have somebody there in the room with you, the therapist, when you're going through your, I think she called it, like, a journey.
Thing when you're tripping and they hold your hand through it.
Absolutely. And so she did that, and she said she saw, like, her younger self, and, like, her younger self, like, approached her and was like, what happened? And she's like, I don't know. And then she, like, grabbed her hand and, like, took her back to this, like, the podcast, by the way, is called We're All Insane. It's it's a good podcast, but if in case you want to listen to it. But she talks about how, like, her younger self took her to this ski trip that she went on when she was a kid, where, like, she got out of the ski cart and this guy, like, got out after her, and there was, like, some situation where he, like, broke both of his legs.
Oh my God.
Like, in front of her, and she felt like it was her fault. And so, like, because of that, like,
this
led
was
to,
real,
like,
or a
yes,
dream?
Yes, this really had happened, but, like, she kind of forgot about it because she was so young. I think she said she was, like, 2 or 3 or something when it happened.
And maybe she blocked it out.
Yeah, she kind of blocked it out. And that's, like, a lot for, like, a 2 or 3-year-old to, like, understand and, like, see. And she kind of felt like it was her fault because it was, like, they had been getting out at the same time or something like that. Like, so, and then she kind of saw other things and saw how, like, she acts in her life, and, like, it wasn't anything, like, crazy trauma that she had. It was just all these little things, but it was so interesting hearing about it because it completely changed my perspective on ketamine. And I was like, this is more than a club drug. I'm like, people, like, we need to be, like, utilizing this, like, more as assisted with psychotherapy, because it's like you also get the actual therapy. But yeah, no, I thought it was so interesting. And I was like, this is definitely something I need to bring up on the pod. Because I was like, this is insane. And now I'm like actually going to be doing a research proposal on like ketamine-assisted psychotherapy for eating disorders specifically. Yeah. But
I've watched a lot of videos on it too, and a lot of people use it for depression and anxiety, and it's actually helps to cure it as well. So I just think it's crazy that I essentially feel like the government has been like holding off on it.
I want to talk about that because I was actually telling her, I was like, it's so funny because like there's not a lot of research on like weed and shrooms because they're like illegal. And ketamine, I mean, it is illegal, but it's also a pharmaceutical. Mm-hmm. So it's like, I was like, of course this thing that can kill you, there's research on it. But like nobody's died from weed or shrooms. Like people like that guy from Friends literally just died from ketamine. Like people do ketamine as like a club drug and die from it, and you can overdose on it for sure.
But you can overdose on most stuff.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
But I'm just saying, like, not weed or shrooms. No, I know. Of course, those are the things that aren't legal. It's a pharmaceutical. That's why we have more research on ketamine than we do weed and shrooms. Yeah. Like, that's because it's pharma.
Yeah, no,
so
literally.
I'm like, it counts as, like, pharma. So, even though it's still not, like, it's not on the same level as, like, other pharmaceuticals where they're, like, heightening it. It's still, like I think, it's not illegal because people are using it in different places, but it's still, like, more touchy than, like, other stuff. Yeah. But still not as touchy as weed and shrooms, which nobody has ever died from. So, I just think that that's so interesting.
No, it is funny.
It's so interesting, but yeah.
Yeah. I feel like ketamine would help a lot of people.
Yeah. But... Sorry, it changed my whole thing because I was always like, you know, I'm only ever going to touch like weed, shrooms, maybe ayahuasca one day when I feel like I'm like, I need a whole thing. Right. But then I was like, maybe not ayahuasca.
Right, right.
Literally ketamine. Not me being like, okay, like I'll try ketamine. Like, my whole like personality.
You're like, well, if it's assisted.
I know. I was like, if it's with a therapist, like maybe I could do it. Like,
and you know, it can't be. Well, it could be. I mean,
what?
Lace? Like the amount. No, not lace. Yeah. I just wonder the amount that they give.
Oh yeah,
I mean, it has to be per person.
Depends. Yeah, it definitely depends, and I don't think that they do like a fuck ton. I feel like you can increase. She explained like the whole thing in the podcast too. It was so interesting to hear her perspective on it and like just her like stories in general. She was a really like very much like us. I was like, I would hang out with this girl. Like, yeah, highly recommend. But yeah, it was so fucking interesting.
But I feel like maybe it's another thing where they can't profit that much off of it. Like if somebody's depressed and has anxiety and you get prescribed medicine, you're getting medicine once a month maybe, and you're coming back and also the medicine's expensive.
People, and I don't know. I feel like
it's a whole weird thing.
They don't want people to heal.
I know. Think about it. Like,
healed people don't buy into consumerism.
Right. And people in other countries, kind of more so, I'm not sure, like, third world or, like, Native Americans, how they use a lot of natural stuff and remedies, and they've always kind of, like, grown up like that, you know?
Yeah, it's very interesting. And I just am, like, it's hard because it's, like, it's this paradox, especially I have no interest in like conducting research, but I like reading it, somebody going into the health field. And I think it's so interesting because it's like for something to get backed, you need research evidence. Right. But how are you supposed to get research evidence when the thing is illegal?
Right.
Like it's like a paradox of like we're going to make it really hard for you to prove that these substances do anything to help anybody so that we don't have to, like, FDA approve them. Right. Like, you know what I mean? And we're just now, I mean, I'm not saying that there's no hope because, like, we're getting to a point where it's, like, weed is, like, becoming, like, kind of whatever, but it's still, like, there's still states where it's, like, absolutely not. And that's, like, crazy to me. But yeah, shrooms and stuff, I'm like, why are they, like... Why is it such a big deal?
You know why? Because it opens up our minds.
It does.
To things that we would stand up and fight the government against.
Yeah. And I'm also going to say, I don't want to like shame people, but it does kind of piss me off because I'm like learning about ketamine in this way has like made me just be like, well, I had such a bad view of it because of the way that it's used as a club drug of just like people going to like raves and taking ketamine. And I'm not like trying to be like, fuck you if you go to raves and take ketamine. Right. Like whatever. Like, you know, I'm not gonna what is it?
Bash
I'm gonna
you.
yuck your yum.
Yuck
if you think ketamine's yummy, I'm not gonna yuck it. But I'm just saying.
Never heard of that.
I'm just
yuck
like,
your yum.
Like, I mean, because that could be fun and like a great experience. But I'm just like, it's so. I feel like stuff like that. I don't want to say stuff like that ruins it because I'm like, that's not. I mean, I like smoke weed just to like smoke weed, but it's just hard because it's like the perception. I feel like just on the outside is just like. It gets so skewed because of that. But I'm not blaming those people because it's just like, there's no reason to blame those people. But I don't know. It's fucking hard. It's fucking hard because I was just like, I will never touch ketamine. Like, I just don't need to. And now I'm like, maybe I could. I'm like, maybe I could.
I really would like to see.
But not for shits and gigs. It's the same thing of like we've done shrooms.
Yeah.
Whatever, like together. And it's like not that big of a deal. Like, but... After doing them, I don't get how people could do them, like, every day or, like, every weekend or, like, something like that. I'm like, this is, like, a very, like, special, sparkly, like, every once in a while, yeah, it's not gonna be, like, if I bought, like, capsules or something, I would have them for, like, probably a really long time. And, like, you know what I mean? But yeah, I'm just like, I don't know how that could be like a party.
It would be like
and like when I'm on like a psychedelic like that, I don't want to like, I don't know, I just don't want to party.
No,
like
I
just
want to
like,
kind of tap into yourself.
That's
more,
why I'm
or
confused
just enjoy,
as to how people do that
and
then go to a rave.
Oh, or people that
it.
literally would take like shrooms at house parties. Like,
yeah, I think that's what I'm saying. I think I'm not judging the people for doing it.
Raves is a little different.
I think it's like. I just feel like you're misusing the thing itself.
Raves are...
Like, because I'm like, it's fun. But...
Yeah. Raves are a little different, though, because the people really try to make it an experience with it. Like,
safe.
The music kind of goes with it.
Okay.
And then the DJs always do visuals and, like,
That's
lasers.
fun. Okay.
And then the people in the crowds actually, like, will come up to you with gloves. And they have, like... color tips and they'll like do cool like finger shows.
Oh, that's so fun.
Or they'll have like glasses for sober people to put on that like makes it look like you're tripping.
Oh, that's so fun.
It's an environment where
that's different.
You know, everyone's trying to like
have a good time. Yeah. That makes sense. That makes
house
sense.
parties, I see where you're coming from.
What are we doing with a red Solo cup and tripping on shrooms?
Yeah.
Like, what is happening?
Like just drink and play beer pong.
Get the kinetic sand.
Like
please.
Like
I'm begging you.
The way I would have the worst trip at a house party. Like, why?
I'm not saying you need to be doing therapy to do these psychedelic drugs, but I'm just saying like maybe like go into the woods.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. I'm on the full witchy side of it.
Yeah.
Where I'm just like,
me too.
You need to be naked and like connecting with your fellow sisters
and touching water,
like literally,
and galloping through the streets,
literally frolicking. Catch me on ketamine and later in my life, like frolicking naked in the streets.
Why does that sound so fun?
That sounds amazing.
Have to be our goal.
Sounds amazing.
And then we live in a little cottage in the woods.
Literally so iconic.
Oh my god,
so iconic. I love that.
Fun.
I love that. Okay, but the topics.
We have so many.
We have so many. But so we're starting with like the. Are we gonna?
Shall we start with those?
What do you want to start with? What do you think?
Honestly, we could do like.
We're keeping you all in suspense.
We could do like one of the random ones.
Yeah.
Because I feel like when we dive into this,
it's gonna be
like,
a lot.
Yeah. So could even dive into like that.
Yeah.
Or one of these down here.
Okay. Yeah. Do you want to do? Oh my god! I don't know. Just pick one. I'll let you start.
Okay. Well, should we talk about like dopamine detox, phone addiction, because we're kind of talking right now.
We were kind
of going into that a little bit.
Yeah.
Well, as everyone knows, I think our society as a whole right now is having a phone addiction problem.
Yeah.
Us included.
Yes, absolutely.
I mean, the fact that you have everything at your fingertips is almost scary.
It's overwhelming.
So scary. You can just Google any question you have, which is great, but it also has its, overstimulation. Like, I feel like I'm overstimulated, like, all the time. Or, like, it's the constant need to feel... What is the word? I literally just said it.
get the...
I need the
gratification.
The instant gratification. And that was... It was... I've always kind of had that, but it's been bad as of, like, the past few years. Yeah. I would say, like, very bad, where I'm trying to find things to instant gratify my needs, whatever. Yeah. And we can dive into the chip theory, the Dorito theory.
Yes. So there's this girl on TikTok. Wait, do you know her name?
I don't. I came across it on my For You page.
If you type in Dorito theory, you might be able to find it on the internet or on TikTok. I know it's hard to find shit on TikTok. But it's not like we have, like, millions of... Yeah. I just felt bad for not, like, shouting her out. But basically, this girl on TikTok had discovered, like, Dorito theory. Or not discovered. She was talking about Dorito theory. Which is the sense of, like, okay, if you think about a bag of Doritos, right? You eat the Dorito. It doesn't really do anything for you. It's not, like, protein. It's just, like, fat and carbs. So you're just, like, eating it. And you want to keep eating more because... it's not satisfying. The chip itself is not satisfying. The flavor of it while you're, like, eating that bite is satisfying.
First touches your taste buds.
When it touches your tongue, that's the satisfying part. So that's why you can just so easily just keep, like, popping them, like, and eating them. Whereas, like, when you eat, like, a meal, like, a full, like, balanced meal with, like, you know, a protein. I'm not, like, trying to get a nutrition, but, like, you know what I mean? Just, like,
but yeah,
it's a part of it, because it's, like, you feel satiated because there's a balance of things.
And the whole time. While you're eating it.
Yeah.
Like, while it touches your taste buds and after.
Yeah, it's satisfying because there's a whole meal. So she kind of compared it to, like, short form content and, like, YouTube, or not YouTube, TikTok because it's, like, you're addicted to the scroll. Not, like, necessarily the information or the content after the scroll, because it just feels good to, like, see something new. So you just keep going, and that's why endless scrolling apps are dangerous.
I'm getting very concerned and nervous, because if it's this bad now, think about how we're going to be 20, 30 years from now.
But I think we
just don't know what it's doing to our brain.
We don't know what it's doing to our brain, but I do want to say there's always a learning curve with things, right? So, like, television came, and I'm sure everybody was like, oh my God, everybody's gonna be like,
can't leave it.
They're gonna, which is kind of true, but it's also, like, we've learned how to, like, whatever. Yeah. I feel like it's gonna take time for us to learn how to navigate. There's always a crisis period, because it's like, this thing is new and shiny, and, like, we don't know how to deal with it, but
the issue is at your fingertips everywhere you go.
It is. TV, we have a computer. Yeah.
TV, you leave. You can't come home for 5 hours.
No, you can't. No. Let's talk about, what is your current relationship with, like, your phone and the internet? Like, what do you think? What is your current, like, how would you describe it?
Okay. I'm not, like, super addicted. Like, some people are very bad. Mm-hmm. When I go places or when I do activities, I really try to stay off my phone. Yeah. Right? I'm with people hanging out. I'm not going to be on my phone. Right. I'm not one of those people. Yeah. So I have disciplined myself with that. If I go somewhere very cool or a trip, I'm taking photos and videos. Yeah. I'm not really on my phone because I'm talking and engaging with the people I'm with. Exactly. So I'm good with that. You know, the people that are still on their phone 24/7, or you're having a conversation and they're literally just glued to the phone, that definitely bothers me.
I honestly feel bad, because I'm like, you are literally missing out. Right. Like, literally missing out.
Look up.
Like, missing out. Like, it's crazy to me. My current relationship with my phone is very much, like, very similar to yours, I would say. I never had, you know, when, like, you want to, like, regulate something, but it was never that bad in the first place. Right. Like, but when you want to regulate something, it seems like it was bad. Like, if you're like, I want to stop drinking soda this year, everyone's like, oh, so you must have drunk a lot of... That's not what it was like. Right. Like, I was never, like... I was always kind of pretty mindful with my phone. But definitely, like, I think a year and a half ago, was like... You know, I had realized I got into a routine of just kind of, like, being on my phone a lot. And I was like, there are other things for me to do. So I was like, I'm going to put a screen time thing on my phone. Right. And I feel like a lot of people, and I'm not trying to claim that the way I use screen time is the only way and the right way to use screen time, but I think people need to get more creative with how they use their screen time, because I think we just kind of, like, use it as, like, okay, once the screen time's up, you can be done. You're done for the day, like, whatever. I used it very differently. So what I did is I made the screen time, I think I've explained this to you before, but I'll explain it to them. I've made the screen time like really, really low. So, and I didn't really know how it worked. It kind of split the time between 2 apps. So I only put screen time on endless scrolling apps like Instagram and TikTok. So it's not on YouTube. Like I never get a screen time thing for YouTube because it's like I'm looking for information there. Also, with long form content, like I'm not losing time on there. Right. I know how long the video is when I start it. You know what I mean?
That's true. You lose time on the scrolling.
You lose time on scrolling because it's endless. You can just hit another. So I just was like, no, it's literally, and there's so many things to do. Like Instagram, it's like, okay, I'm stories, bored with stories. I'm gonna go through the things. Okay, bored with those. Going on the reels now. Yeah, it's like there's so you can spend a lot of fucking time on there doing nothing.
Yeah,
so
very true.
Only put it on the endless scrolling apps. Wasn't gonna put it on apps that I know aren't like an issue. Yeah, me staying on my phone. That's one thing that I feel like sometimes people just put it on everything, and then they're like, I need to go back. Yeah, and it's like it's fine. So I put it on those, and then I gave myself 30 minutes. Initially, I thought it was going to give me 30 minutes of TikTok and 30 minutes of Instagram.
Like total throughout the day or at that time?
Through the day.
Okay.
Yeah. So, and it's still on that. But I thought it was going to give me 30 for TikTok and 30 for Instagram. But it gives me 30 minutes between the two. So if I'm on on TikTok for like 15 minutes, I have 15 left for either TikTok or Instagram. Yeah. Like, it doesn't matter. So if I'm, if I haven't been on Instagram at all for the day, but I stay on TikTok for 30 minutes, I can't go on Instagram. Yeah. So what I did with that is in the beginning, I was very strict about it, where I would I very much used the screen time popping up, being like, hey, you're out of time, as like a check. Yeah. And I think that more people need to use it as a checkpoint rather than like, I can't. Because we talked about this before, and I think a lot of people know that restriction is just not the best way to like control something. Right. It's like going on a diet and being like, I can't have chips. All you're gonna want is chips. Like if you just tell yourself you can't. Rather, if you're just like, I can have a little instead of the whole fucking bag, then you satisfy your craving and you're also not like going crazy. So you know what I mean? So I did that, and I was just like, okay, as soon as the thing pops up, I need to find something else to do. So I picked up reading. Still in that vibe. Very much fell into loving reading. I'm obsessed with reading. I've read like 6
I've gotten better with reading.
I've read like 6 books this year. Yeah. I read like 8 just at the end of last year. My goal is like 25. It's crazy.
And 6 just this year so far? Like it's March. Okay, okay. No,
I don't know.
Good though. That's
and I
good.
literally don't know how because I have like no time. Right. Like my boss was literally like, you have time to read. And I was like, I don't know. I don't know how I'm finding time to read. But I think because my goal is 25, like I'm just like, okay, anytime I can, I'm going to read.
Well, the less time you're on your phone, you don't realize how much more time you have to do other things.
No, and I've seen people on YouTube do the switching your phone time with like your reading, like switching screen time with reading time, and it's so fun to watch because it's like, funny. Oh my god! So they do like a week and then they'll switch out, but whatever. Anyway, my point is, I was really strict with it at first, and then I was like, okay. After I started to get a better handle on just like doing other things, I was like, okay, I am gonna leave the screen time on. But I noticed I used it more because I use TikTok for a myriad of things. Like, I use it for entertainment, but I also use it for, like, recipes. So if I'm going grocery shopping and I don't want to eat that week, I have a folder for, like, recipes that I'll look at. I use it for workouts. If I'm going to the gym and so I'm like, if I hit screen time, I'm not going to be like, oh, I hit screen time. I can't figure out what my workout's going to be this week. I'm like, I'm going to hit the thing that says 15 more minutes. Right. But what's nice about that is that instead of opening it for the day or doing the 1 more minute, and sometimes 1 more minute is good, especially if you hit it in the middle of a video, I'll just be like, I just want to finish the video. Yeah. And then we can whatever. But I'll do it for 15 minutes. And what it does is let me know how long I've spent on the app, because I think that's the thing that we miss. Yeah. Especially if you don't have anything to do. You don't know how long you've been on the app. So if I reopen TikTok and I'm like, yeah, I do want to scroll right now and I'm okay with it and it's chill. I'm scrolling and then the screen time comes up. I'm like, okay, I know I've been on there for 15 minutes. Right. And then I'm like, I'm okay with spending another 15 minutes, or I'm like, I'll spend another 15 later in the day, like whatever. I've also heard of people kind of doing a thing where they have clock in hours. Really? Like social media. Okay. Which I think is so interesting. That is funny. And it kind of reminds me of what I did in the sense of like when I was really strict with like the 30 minutes, I was like, okay, I can't be on here too long. Yeah. So let me find what I want to look at and be done. And so I can look later if I want to. Yeah. And so that's what they do with the clock and screen. I saw that on TikTok where people would they'd be like from 4 to 5 is like my social media time, or like from 4 to 4:30 is my social media time, and it makes it an event of just like, okay, I can see what's going on today within this time frame, and then after that I'm not on these apps.
Yeah.
Which I feel like is really fun and kind of similar to what I do in the sense that like you still go, but it's like on your own terms. So I feel like, yeah, being creative and how you use it, and like not feeling like as soon as the screen time thing pops up, like you're punished and you can't go back in the app. Go back in the app, hit 15 more minutes, and just know that like after that 15 minutes, like sometimes I'll hit it and I'll be like, okay, I hit that thing twice. Like I should be good for the day.
Does it let you do it twice?
Yeah. No, it lets you. That's the issue.
Like
that's an issue why people like will get the screen time thing on their phone, and then it doesn't work because you can literally just hit like 15 more minutes, or you can hit done for the day because they can't like legally just lock you out of your phone. So it's like people, if you don't have like self-discipline, but that's why I'm like, instead of using it as a thing that's like you can't go on this app anymore, just use it as a timer of like, okay, I know I've been on here for 15 minutes now because the thing came back up. So that's why I kept it really low, because if you keep it low, because if you set your screen time to like 2 hours, I mean, you could do that if it works for you, but for me, it's like, okay, then I'm just gonna spend however long.
Right.
But since I made it so short, it's like I really can't be on there for too long without it like reminding me that hey, you need to relax. And because it's like a game,
pipe down.
No, because it's like a game for me now. Every Sunday, it tells me where I'm at. Where it's like whether I went down or whether I went up. So I'm like, I don't want to go up. And if there's like a week that I went up, I'm like, fuck, like I gotta go down.
Discipline yourself. You punish yourself.
So it's not even like a
punish and reward.
Yes, it's like a fun little game, low-key, because it's like it'll be like your screen time was up like this much, and I'll be like, what was going on?
What was it?
Literally,
what was I doing?
I think I love it because it does make you self-aware. It's like, what was going on this week? And it's like, I was having a rough week where I just was like, I just need. Yeah. And I'm like, okay, well, how can we? It shows you where you're at, and I think it's just like good to know. And I think the issue with endless scrolling is that we just don't know where we're at.
Yeah.
Because time just passes.
It does.
And all the videos are different lengths, and you don't know how long a video is, and you just keep scrolling, and then your friend sends you something. Also, my number one tip for any app that you want to spend less time on is turn off notifications. Nobody is forcing you to have notifications on.
You're so right.
Notification, and I swear the apps like I don't have notifications on for Instagram. I don't have it on for TikTok. I have it on for nothing. I don't have it on for fucking anything. I don't either. I have like any group chat I'm in is hide alerts. Because that like, can you reach me? No, you can't.
Because then, you know what? All my notifications are off too, because low-key, sometimes you'll forget.
Yeah.
You'll forget to go on.
Yeah. Like, and it calls you to the app.
Like, imagine.
It wants you to come to the app.
Because imagine, if your Snapchat notifications were on, every time someone snapped you, you would instantly want to go to reply. Why wouldn't you? You know what I mean?
That's how I feel. That's how it was. And that's why when I realized, I was like, oh, I can just, like, turn notifications off.
Yeah.
And it tells me it, too. It'll be like, I was, like, telling my mom about this, how, like, TikTok will, like show me. It'll be like, did you like that video? Would you like to like turn on notifications so that you know I'm like, no. Like,
every time you go to an app.
I don't want to be called to the app. I want to choose to go into the app. Yes. And then even then, like TikTok is on my main screen, but I have Instagram on the second page in a folder. So I have to like click the folder and then go over and then do it. And that initially happened because I was going through a breakup and I did not want to see like any notifications or any like...
Right.
Actually, the notification thing started because of the breakup too. Because I was like, I don't want to see any messages. I don't want to get notified. And then I realized I was like, I'm living in peace.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm keeping that on and I'm keeping Instagram in the second page of the folder so I just don't have to like... Whatever.
Because if your notifications are on, you're going to just instantly want to click it and go to that app. And that's just, that's so much worse for you. And I don't
blame anybody because it just seems so normal. It's like, why wouldn't I have notifications on? Yeah. I want to know when somebody likes my thing. I want to know. But it's like, for me, it's just so much more fun because, like, if I post something or whatever, I'll forget about it, low-key, and then I'll go back to the app and, like, people will be like, blah, 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 blah. And also, I think it has also normalized, it's brought me peace on many levels because I think it also normalized, like, my friends kind of understanding that I won't necessarily be getting back to them right away, and it doesn't mean that I'm not there because I always respond, but it's like I'm not going to be like getting back like right away necessarily, so it's not weird because I feel like initially if you are somebody that messages back really fast, which I definitely was, and not for out of feeling like, oh, I need to so they know I'm not mad, but I just was like, if I'm on my phone and I see it, like what you just said, like why not? Like why wouldn't I just respond right now if you messaged me? Like And it's also just trained me to, even when I get a notification of something, like, to just take my time. Like, you don't need to open that now.
Right.
When my phone buzzes and I'm doing something, I'm not automatically like, oh, what was that? I'm just like, I'm like, I'll get to it when I get to it.
Which is why it helps to turn them off.
Yeah.
So that you're not, like, every time your phone buzzes.
Especially if you're first, like, trying on your journey of, like, trying to be on your phone less. I think turning off your phone at certain points. I just found out about Do Not Disturb. Like, I mean, I knew it existed. But I just, like, found out, like, how to really utilize it. Because I was doing my work once. And I, like, got a text from somebody, and I was like, oh, like, let me respond. And I was just like, I am looking for any excuse to not do my work right now. I was like, let me put on Do Not Disturb. And it was nice, because then afterwards I saw all these texts, and I was like, I definitely would have stopped, like, 12 times. To, like,
I was going to say,
and then had a whole conversation, like...
If I was doing homework or work or whatever, I would literally have to go hide my phone.
Literally, like...
Because I would just flip.
And it's nice, like, but what it does is, like, now that I've been doing it for, like, a year or some, like, whatever, it's so natural to me to just not want to be on my phone as much, and we talked about it, like, we're both people that aren't on our phone as much as other people, but we still, like, when you look at it, we're on our phone. I'd love to just not. I really would love to just be, like, I say that.
An hour a day.
Yeah, no, literally, I say that because I don't think that it's evil, and I don't want to, like, demonize, like, social media or demonize, like, apps like TikTok, because I know I have a lot of friends that'll be like, I just had to fully delete it. And I'm like, I literally can't do that.
Yeah, no, I could never.
And it's not because I'm addicted to it. It's so funny because it's like, I feel like I have less of an attachment, but I could not delete it. And it's because I have, like, all my stuff on there is so organized. And I'm like, there's videos, not even, like, funny videos, like, literally, like, recipes and people that I follow that I, like, need to, like, have and keep up with for, like, my own personal whatever. So I'm like, I don't feel like I could delete it, but I also don't feel attached enough to it to feel like I need to delete it. You know what I mean? Like,
my feed is never... It's informational.
I was going to say...
And
also, I always...
Educational, enjoyable.
My feed, when I go on Instagram, it'll be like, take a breath. Yeah. Take a breath. Take a break from scrolling. I'm like, I'm on that side of TikTok and
I was going to say
TikTok.
Where it's
like, meditate with me for 5 seconds. And I'm like, oh, yes.
I was going to say TikTok is not people dancing. Mm-mm. It's not...
If you're on the right side, it's, like, not. Like, it doesn't feel crazy.
Yeah, mine is traveling. It's spiritual stuff.
I open up TikTok and it's, like, noodles and, like, bread. It's, like, here's how I made my sourdough starter. And I'm like, oh, my God, I want to do that. I'm like, here's how I moved to the woods and started my new life. I'm like, I need that.
But can we also talk about how that has been toxic, at least, I think, to me? When my whole when my whole TikTok page is people traveling and living their life the way I want to live.
Oh, God.
Something very badly happens in my brain.
It's triggering as
fuck. The dopamine and serotonin levels just to depress.
So there's this girl I follow, and I really love her, like, insight. But she does, like, she kind of does, like, yoga videos, but I found her on TikTok. This is why I'm like, I wouldn't delete it, because there's so much, like, I found out and, like, learned from those things, and I utilize it in just, like, a different way. But I follow her on Instagram now, too, and she posted this thing of, like, she always does this thing where she's like, I don't know who needs to hear this, but, like, whatever. And she'll be doing, like, yoga while she says it. And one of the things that she mentioned was, like, it's not normal to travel to, like, X different countries all throughout the year. Like, you're not the weird one. Mm-hmm. They are. And not in, like, a way of, like, shitting on them, but in a way of, like, seeing that content so much is like, why can't I do that? Why can't I do that? That's all I want to do. And you just feel like shit. You're just, I'm not working hard enough to do that. I'm not trying hard enough to do that. But it's not normal. It's not.
No,
people
it's not.
Aren't doing that. They are in the minority of people doing that.
Or you're seeing a bunch of different people's accounts. Yes. So it's someone who traveled to one country a year. Yeah. But if you're seeing 20 different people in a row,
you're like, everybody's going everywhere. Yeah. And of course you're seeing 20 people in a row because you like the content.
And it's just one person going to one country each time.
No, it's a lot.
I mean, that's seriously
it's a rare lifestyle. It's a rare lifestyle. And hearing that, I needed to hear that. I needed to hear that.
I did too.
It's not that I thought that everybody was traveling all the time, but it's like, it's important for me to hear that it's not normal. Because then I'm like, okay, I'm not... I feel less like I'm missing... I mean, I know I'm missing something, but I feel less like I'm missing out on, like, a big scale where I'm like, I'm in my 20s. I need to go to Sweden. I know. I'm like, well, I have time. I have time.
Yes, but also, your 20s is your time. essentially, I mean, coming from when I had my conversation with my dad about the other day when we were talking about Europe and stuff, he was like, I cannot believe I turned 50 this year. Like, I don't feel it, you know, and he was like, seriously, like,
he's healthy.
Do what you want to do in your 20s, though, because, like, when you have kids and life gets, you know, hold of you, he's like, I don't remember the last time I traveled to a different country. He's like, it's been so long. But he used to, like, go to Japan. He went to Europe. Like, he wants to go back, but he's like, I just can't. Say, the friends, the time.
There is
they all have their families. Like,
for, I don't want to, like...
There's
a clock for certain people. If you want certain things out of life, there is a clock. Yeah. And I feel like individually, you need to figure out when that time for you is going to be. For me, I'm on and my bloodline shit. I'm not trying to have kids ever.
So then there's no time limit.
I'm fully like, there is time.
Yeah.
And that's part of the reason I don't want to have kids.
Yeah.
Is because I'm like, I did not grow. Unfortunately, we're not like Kardashians. We're not Jenners. We're not even just like influencers that popped off when they were 17. So now their 20s is like a fun, like whatever. A normal person's 20s is them really trying to make their life and get their shit together, which sucks because it's like you want to enjoy your 20s. But that's why I've heard a lot of people on TikTok and off TikTok say that like people are so scared to turn 30, but 30s is like your 20s. You know how like your 20s is like your teen years, but except you have more control?
Yes.
Your 30s are like your 20s, except you have more stability and control. Yeah. So it's like, I'm not scared to turn 30. I really don't give a fuck. I think the aging, that's a whole other podcast.
Oh, God,
I think the thing around aging is so fucking stupid. It makes me really, really, really upset because it's like, oh my God, it's like we're just all gonna die. Like, it's really not that deep. Like, really, really, if you have a couple wrinkles, like, it is fine. It's appropriate. It's appropriate at a certain point, like, for you not to look 20 anymore. Right. Like, your mind shouldn't be like, you know what I mean? Yeah. So I get the attachment to youth, but I feel like it's just whatever. But that's why I'm just kind of like, I want to be, since I'm building myself in my 20s, not that I'm not going to have fun, like I'm going to have fun, but because I'm building myself and I don't have as much time, and I don't have all the money to go traveling in my 20s, I want to make sure that I'm set up for later so that I can do those things, and I don't want to have kids. Now, if you do...
that works for you, right.
Yeah, and if you do want to have kids, then it's like, okay, maybe there's a
internal time clock.
There's an internal time clock. That would kind of stress me out. Yeah.
That's what's stressful.
That would stress me out. Because then it's like, when do you want to have kids? Right. When do you want to whatever? Because even if I did have kids, like, I'm not completely against it. I'm completely against, like, physically having a kid. Yeah, like, I won't be physically having a kid. Oh my God,
I've literally said this.
Literally never doing that. Never doing that. That is not a question.
I have no desire
at all. I don't have any desire to have a kid. That does not mean I cannot love a kid or even like kids. Like, I like kids.
That needs to be a whole pod too.
I know that's a whole thing. My I have a couple friends that are like, you would literally be a fantastic mom. It's crazy that you don't want kids. And I'm like, I think because I know how much I would take that job seriously and how much it would take. I'm like, that's why I don't want to do it. It's not like, I think it's also, I just don't physically want to have kids. But if somebody wanted to, like, pay for a surrogate or something, like, I would do that. Or adopt. But that's what I'm saying. If I did have them, it would be after I've done everything.
Right.
Which also would suck for them because I'd be, like, literally 80.
Yes. That 80, literally. Like, and that's why I'm also
adopting a teenager when I'm 80. They're like, what the fuck? I'm like, you can have all my fortune.
And that's why I'm also on the fence, because that internal clock that is in a woman is so terrible. It's so scary because
oh my God, we need to talk about that.
I know that needs to be a whole pot because
okay, wait, let me
right. Because the internal clock is just crazy. Because the more you approach towards the end, like, there is kind of a gap on when you can have kids.
Yeah.
You know,
there is.
35.
No, there is.
To dwindle.
It's crazy because in my head, I'm like, yeah, when you hit, like, 45, you can't really have kids anymore. But no, like, there's people struggling at like, 35, like, trying to do IVF because...
Right.
And I'm like, that's crazy.
And that, to me, I'm, like, getting so much closer to that age.
Yeah.
And not doing everything that I want to do before having kids is like, it's getting terrifying. A little rocky. Because, okay, when you have a kid, you have at least 18 years of commitment. If you keep having more, the 18 years goes further. It could span the 30.
Yeah.
25.
And that's
like,
at least you don't know what you do not know what. That's part of the reason, too, that I don't want to have kids, because it's like, I feel like this is just my opinion. This is solely my opinion. I feel like there definitely is nuance to this for sure. But in my head, I'm just like, you shouldn't be wanting to, like, physically at least have a kid if you are not prepared for, like, every outcome. Right. Every single outcome. Yeah. Mental disability, physical disability, like, anything. Also, anything. That happens to your child in general. If they are born completely healthy, completely, like, mentally healthy as well, whatever, they could have an accident at some point, and now you have to take care of this person. Right. And that's not to say that that's a burden. I'm sure you love them still. Like, there's nuance to that, too. Or any trauma that could happen to them. Trauma, anything. It's like everything is with this little person now. Yeah. And it's like, anything could happen at any point. Much. At any fucking point. And it's like, it's fucking... And I'm not saying if you have multiple, the higher the chance. That's what I'm saying. I'm like, and I'm not saying that, like, that should scare people out of having children, because I'm like, if you really did consider all those things, it's like nobody would have children, right? That's true. That's why I'm like, there's nuance to it. That's why I don't want to be like, you shouldn't have a kid at all if you're not ready for them to be fucking paralyzed. Like, I don't want to come off like that. But I do think people need to think about it more, because I think it gets very like, I just want a kid to have a kid, and it's like, you need to think about all the options, and that's why we have a lot of people that have shitty parents or are on the streets, and it's because they don't have parents that were ready for whatever. And then it's like, and I was just like, I'd rather just fucking take care of me. Right. Like, it's already hard enough. That's why it's hard enough. There's not enough hours in the day to fully take care of myself the way I want to. Too? And that's why I'm like, I just want to have a partner, travel all around the world, fuck in all these different areas, and live my life. Right. Like, that's how I feel. Like...
And think about traveling with children. People are like, oh, you can do it. No. You can, but is it enjoyable?
You can't. I'm gonna say it. You can't.
It's enjoyable maybe when they get to a certain age.
Oh my God.
But if you're on a beach, if you're on a beach with a 1-year-old, that's not fun. You're on an airplane with a 1-year-old?
No, not
going across seas? Not fun.
Not a good time whatsoever. And I think... That's why I'm like, I don't want to shit on people, because some people are just like made for it and like want to do it and it's fine, but I think we need to be more honest about motherhood. On TikTok, there's the girl with the list. Have you ever seen her? She's a girl with a list of reasons not to have kids. Oh, wow. And like, she always like talks about, like, she'll stitch people's videos of like moms like talking about like shit they've been through, shit with birth, shit with pregnancy, shit with the kid, and she'll talk about, like, here's your reminder to take your birth control, like, because of blah, 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 blah. And little shit that you just don't know about, like, the way you can literally get ripped from, like, vagina to anus, like, during, like, childbirth, and people are just like, I want a mini-me, so I'm gonna have a kid. It's like, I think it's totally fine if you want kids, but really just think about why. Yeah. Because I think a lot of people don't think about why, and then they end up not loving their kids to the extent that they need to be loved. There's like, how many gay kids have been born in like families that were like, wait, we don't really fuck with that. like that's so fucked. Like, you chose to have this kid, and now you're kicking it out because it likes the same sex. Like, that's so crazy. It's just like, no, that's not our business. We're not gonna fuck with you anymore because of that. Like, that's just crazy. So it's like, I feel like, really think about it. Like, if you're not comfortable with all the situations, like, maybe just don't. Like, maybe just wait. Or adopt somebody that's straight. Yeah, that's... There's so many stray kids that need to be adopted.
My God. I mean, we are going through a crisis in our population right now where people... We don't need more. No. People are not. We're going through a population decline. It's because people do not want to have kids.
And the main reason people don't want to have kids...
Even though I see kids popping out left and right. No, literally. Okay.
I think it's because the main reason people don't want to have kids is the expense.
The expense.
Everything. We went to the dollar store today, and there was a deal for chips. 2 for $9. Sorry.
And they were not like huge bags.
No.
They were
like medium-sized bags. Yeah, they were like Fritos and medium-sized. 2 for $9. That was the sale. Yeah. That was the sale.
They're normally like $4.95. I was like, so you're saving $1.
What is going on? The inflation is fucking crazy.
It is.
Spotify, like, reached out, like, a year ago, was like, we're upping it $1. I was like, I guess fucking everybody's upping it $1. The streaming platforms are, like, getting crazy with password sharing. They'll, like, lock your account if they find out your, like, IP is being used from, like, different
Netflix
whatever.
said they would do that.
Like, well, they said they would do it, and then everybody got mad and was like, I don't even fuck with Netflix anyway. And they're like, wait, guys, never mind.
Come back, we won't do it.
They're like, actually, never mind. It's like, not that we
Everyone started canceling.
And the thing is, like, a lot of them are gonna, because Netflix did that, and then, like, people got mad. I think a lot of the streaming platforms are just gonna start doing it without, like, announcing it, because they know that people are gonna get mad and, like, drop the platform. But I'm like,
when we find out, we'll drop the platform.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
Either way, you're getting dropped.
That's what I'm saying.
You know how expensive Netflix isn't really the expensive one, but Hulu,
Netflix is like $15.
No, it is, but Hulu, I think, without ads. Might be like ads. 30.
Oh, really?
Or something.
Oh my god.
I don't know. Because the only one I pay for is Paramount Plus.
Paramount Plus is a pretty good deal.
Like
there's
$60
a lot of shit on there.
A year.
And there's a lot of shit on there.
And
a lot.
The first year I got
they went
half off.
Because I started off, it was
$59.
It was
a year.
It was $5.99 and now it's $6.99.
Wait, you pay monthly?
Yeah.
Oh, I just got yearly. I don't even, there was no monthly option for me.
Really?
Oh, well, the first year, I got it half off, so $30. I was like, for a year, that's good.
Nice. Yeah, that's good.
And then they charged me $60 for the year. Yeah,
they'll do a lot. Because I remember there was a deal for Hulu where it was like, do you want Hulu? I have Hulu right now because I have like the student Spotify. So I pay $6 a month and I get Spotify Premium and Hulu. Oh yeah, which is a really good deal. But I also don't get the audiobooks on Spotify, which sucks now. But yeah, whatever. But yeah, I don't know. That's why people don't want to have kids, because of the money. And people are like, why aren't people having kids? And
well, I mean, people can't even afford themselves.
I can't afford to live myself.
So, like, let alone another human being.
I don't. Yeah, that's not
that you have to pay for at least 18 years.
Not fucking happening.
Like what?
Oh my god. Loans. Like, I can't.
I mean,
and then also my mom brings this up a lot, because she was a teen mom. Mm-hmm. And so she kind of talks about, she's like, honestly, like, if I didn't have you so young, I don't know if I would have ever had kids. Because, not in, like, the way of, like, she hates me or anything. But she's like, now, like, one, I'm tired. And two, like, just the way, like, money works and everything. Like, I don't know if I would have, like, made the decision to have kids. And she's like, I'm glad I, like, had you, like, earlier. Well, because of that.
Think about that. Because when I was younger, I was so ready to have kids.
Oh, yeah.
When I was in a relationship,
you get your period when, like, what people were having kids earlier, back in the day.
So also, now your frontal lobe is not developed, so you're more rational.
Oh yeah.
So I would say 18 to 21. I was like, I'm ready at any moment. The older I got, the more I was like, the more I'm thinking, the more I'm getting
and
smart.
And my mom mentions how you are now, like, kind of. Not even kind of. I'm gonna say, I just don't want, like, to, like, scare people who have kids or who want kids, but I do want to, like, kind of mention, like, it is a huge responsibility in the sense that you are kind of now, you are like, people have more control over you when you have a kid.
Yeah.
The government has more control over you when you have a kid. You can't say no to things as much when you have a kid. If you have a job, a shitty job, or somebody's taking advantage of you. Right now, if I had that, I was like, bitch, bye. You have a kid and people know you have a kid, they're like, oh yeah, we can do whatever.
Well, then you have to...
we can do whatever to her because she can't leave. Because she has somebody else. You can't be selfish.
You have to think about somebody else before you're thinking of you.
Absolutely. So it's like, no matter what they're doing to you at work, no matter what, they know you have a kid, they're like, she can't quit. She's a sure thing. Mm-hmm. They're more likely to hire people for that. Yeah. I mean, they're also less likely for other reasons. Like if you just had a kid, because they're like, okay, you're gonna be with that kid. Yeah. But like if you have like children, they're like, oh yeah, you're a sure thing, because it's stability, right? It's like you're not moving next month. Right. You can't do that. You have a kid. Right. So. And that's something that's like, I want to be able to pick up and go whenever I know. Want. I'm so irrational. It's like, and I'm not, one, that's not fun for a kid. No. Two, I just don't want to be tied down. Also, like, the government, like, has issues. Anybody can just get mad at you and be like, CPS, like, my mom, one time she took me to the hospital because I had, like, I just was sick or something. And I remember this, like, while it was happening, but I didn't fully understand it. And then my mom, like, told me this story, like, not too long ago, like, recently. And I was like, this is so fucked. She took me to the hospital. She took me to the ER because I was sick with, like, something. I was, like, really sick, like. And they're like, she just has like blah, 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 give her a Tylenol. And she was like, okay. So and it was like during my mom's like finals week in college. So she's like, this fucking sucks. But like, she's like, whatever. Takes me home. I get sicker, obviously, because whatever I had wasn't going to get fixed with fucking Tylenol. She takes me back to the ER. And like, she was like upset with them because she's like, obviously, like, my kid, it needs fucking something else.
Right.
And I'm probably missing like parts of the story, but it's definitely like, this is the gist of it. And essentially they got mad at her because she was like upset. Like, obviously she's going through finals. She has a sick kid. They're not helping. She's like, she needs something else. And they get like mad at her and they're like, like, your kid's like really sick and like you're yelling at us. And they called like CPS on my mom. No. And so CPS like calls and is like, we have like a report from you. And my mom was like, fucking come and check. Like, how do you report somebody for taking a sick kid to the hospital? They're basically like, she's sick. Like, her mom, like, wasn't taking... And I'm like, what the fuck? It was so dumb, but it's, like, one of those things where it's, like, that was just another inconvenience because, like, anybody can do, like, deem you unfit at any moment for any reason. Like, if your kid goes to school and they have, like, a scrape, you know what I mean? There's so many things that, like, just get fucked because of that, and you are now, like, a slave to, like, the system. Not even the kid, but, like, literally the system that, like, takes, like, accountability for this kid or whatever, you know? Your kid could also just, like, be a fucking delinquent and get into, like, XYZ. There's so many kids that come from, like, great homes and great parents and, like,
that's true, yeah.
Get into drugs and shit. All of a sudden, you have a cop knocking at your door with your kid at 2 a.m. talking about, like, your kid's on ketamine and broke into
ketamine,
your kid. I like the first drug to come to my mind.
I was gonna say, I don't even think that's really like
that's not a thing. Your kid's on fucking meth. I don't know. Yeah, your kid's on meth and broke into the fucking local Dollar Tree.
The local Dollar Tree.
At 2 a.m.
Because he wanted a snack.
Like, because he wanted a snack. He wanted to get the 2 for 9 chips. And you're like, I thought he was, like, posted up in his bed, all snuggled in. That was the last time I saw him. And now you have to pay the fee of whatever he broke. Like, I can't fuck with that. Like, I just can't do that.
Or when your kids, like, have a party with their friends at your house and they're drinking, you could go to jail for their underage drinking if you get caught.
It's fucked.
Even if they're doing it without your consent.
No,
like, in the, like, sneaking.
I am just a girl. Like, I'm just a girl. This is why I want to be the fun aunt. Yeah. Because I want to go abroad and, like,
come back, bring
take a year off, come back with my, like, shawl and all my culture and be like, take this crystal. Like, take this crystal, don't tell your mother. And then they're like, oh my god, we love her. She always brings us, like, weird gifts. I bring them back like a stick of wood and I'm like, burn this if you feel like shit. And they're like...
I can see that. That is so accurate.
That is definitely what I want. I just want, like, the weirdest vibe. Like, the glasses with the string on them. And, like, the beads. Like, I'm just like, like, just, like, full fucking weird vibe. Like... The aunt that you only see her once a year, and she brings you the weirdest shit, but you fucking love her energy. Like, like, this girl's picking on me at school. Fuck that bitch. Fuck that bitch. You know what you should do? You should call her the fuck out. The mom's like, stop! Like, but I get to leave. That's why it's fun. Yeah. Because then I get to leave. I don't want one of my own. No. At all. Oh my gosh. Dude, I can't believe an hour's almost gone by. That just went by so fast.
I know.
What was even, like, the main topic? Oh, we talked about phones.
Yeah, pretty much. Phones, and the dopamine detox. Yeah.
Oh, dopamine detox.
We didn't really get into the detox aspect, but we did talk about discipline and stuff.
Yeah, we definitely did. The dopamine detox, I feel like people were, like, doing that thing, which I wanted to do for a while, but they technically just, like, went off grid for a week, where they were like, I went without my phone for, like, an entire week.
That's so nice. My sister just did that at the cruise because she didn't have service. Yeah. So she didn't have her phone for a week.
But it's different to do it at home.
Yeah, that's true.
Different to do it
that's
at
true.
home.
At home,
but
dang.
Yeah.
You have some serious FOMO.
But I've watched videos and I'm like, that is super interesting. Like, and people's reactions and they're like, the first couple days were literally excruciating, and then I like literally awful. But then people are like, I became a kid again. Like I went out. I like was looking for something, so I found it in other places rather than just, you know, why being bored is like a good thing, essentially. Which we
can tap into
we
that.
We can do another pod, and we can get more into the dopamine detox on the other one on that. But yeah.
If you guys like this episode, follow along and catch us. Share. We have a TikTok, Witchy Women podcast. And then go to the Apple Store or Spotify, rate and review if you like it. You can leave questions in the comment box or whatever. And then make sure to follow along so that you can be updated for future episodes. And catch us on the next one.
See you.
Signing out.